So let's move to an email that's come in from someone who is looking to sell their business, so they don't really want me to say who they are. It's difficult to hide it on an email, but I'm not going to say it out loud. And they've had enough. They are looking for an exit. The company, they say, is reasonably profitable. They believe it to be saleable. So what advice would you give someone as to how do they start going about that?
Somebody who's thought about retiring ahead of time.
Yeah,
indeed.
Well,
type of person.
It's like how you say that when I was coming in. It's all about planning it and getting ready for it. I mean, it probably does take about 3, 4, 5 years to really get a company prepared for exit, so it's going to be something that's going to attract other potential buyers. But basically, I mean, it comes down to basic. You have to have a number of things in place. One would be you have to have a really concise business plan that clearly explains why it is you win in the market and why it is you'll continue to win in the market. That will make you attractive. You have to have your organisation ready so that if you decide to step away, the wheels won't come off. That's really important. And there's lots of steps you can take if you plan it carefully beforehand, like legal steps to put contracts in place with key suppliers, key customers, key employees, so that again it gives the buyer much more certainty when they're about to make the investment. So these are the kind of things that you can set up. Interesting, when you do a business plan, you'll often in that process you'll find new things which will actually add value to your business that you wouldn't have thought about going into the actual process of doing a business plan. So business plan itself can add a lot of value.
I think one of the things that many owners don't understand, because by definition many of them are selling for the first time, is what the rigours of this thing called due diligence really mean. And one of the problems is that when your books are just there for you to go through, then anything which isn't quite right you're sort of aware of and you're okay, and you know which stones you can look under and which are okay. When an outsider comes in and then brings in the lawyers, brings in their professional accountants and really starts to go through, if you have not done the pre-work, and one of the things that FD4 do is we help people do that pre-work, then you can lead yourself open to some horrible negotiating positions, and the amount of value you can have negotiated away from you through not doing some proper pre-work, not having done the business plan, as David said, is enormous. And I say the due diligence process is not something to underestimate. How much value can be gained or lost by some professional planning.
I've got a friend of mine is FD for a large insurance company in the city, and his sole job, he's head of acquisition, so he's always going off to do due diligence. And that's his life. He spends doing due diligence. And I wouldn't like to be sitting at the other side of the table with any holes in my budget, because he'd find them.
No, he will, and it can be a very unpleasant experience. But again, it's like most of these things, as David said, one of the things we do is we focus on the end point, we focus on the future. And that, again, is typically your traditional accountant has made sure the books are okay, but it's managing that end process, and that's where the higher value comes from.
Absolutely.
Other really important thing is tax planning, which also takes a little while to line up. So, I mean, I think obviously it's fair in society that the tax man gets some money when you make an exit, but you want to pay him, I suppose, like an optimal amount, if I put it that way. So, I mean, that will take probably like 2 or 3 years to completely line that up, and that's really important to line that up.
Okay.